Hey beauties, morning to you. All right, in life, there is a saying that goes, there is a time and a place for everything. And that is a kind of a hypothesis that I try sometimes to live by. Sometimes I don't necessarily live up to it, unfortunately, because we're human beings, we will fall at times. It's like Christian man or Christian woman, where some people say, but I thought just the person said they were a Christian. It doesn't mean that they won't fall. When a baby is growing, you see how many times the baby falls when they're learning when the baby is learning how to walk. As you get older, you perfect the art of walking, so you fall less. But it doesn't mean that some time won't come. No matter how circumspect you walk, you find yourself drop on your toe. It's life. Murphy's Law visit us. Life's challenges will visit us, But we have to try and become more mature and lessen the negatives as best as we can, as much as it is, as much and as far as it depends on us, Let us, either to be at peace with people and to try and do less negative as much as we can. Now, this entire saga with Miss Kitty, with the comment that she made as regards a 9 to 5 job, that some young girl, I didn't hear it, but I heard her response, to Miss Kitty's, I suppose, chiding of her comment. And, I was speaking to some people who didn't hear the girl's response to Miss Kitty, and they thought it was unwise of Miss Kitty to go to the Chris Brown's concert to give such a chiding or reprimand to the girl and basically encouraging others. I have mixed feelings, to be very honest with you, where that is concerned. Perhaps they have a good point, because it's a concert, it's a musical event. It's really about enjoyment and having fun and just relaxing, letting your hair down. Maybe it wasn't the place to chide somebody at the Chris Brown's concert, especially with so many people being there, so many people watching, and whatever. So, but perhaps, and I'm saying it on the basis of how the girl may feel, she probably feel completely humiliated and completely embarrassed. And similarly for Miss Kitty, she probably, in her mind, she's probably saying, you know what, let me use this forum, which has a lot of people, people who probably be viewing it because people are going to show it live and whatnot, to encourage them that nothing is wrong with their 9 to 5 honest bread. So that is why I'm telling you I have mixed feelings for it, where that is concerned. I don't know, to say I should take this side or take that side. It's not even really about taking sides. It's about perspective, how she views it and how the other girl views it. As I said, I can understand. One of the things that people never like is to be publicly humiliated and publicly embarrassed, especially if they have given an opinion about something. Because the reality is, I can use the scripture to back up what the girl has said, in a sense. The Bible didn't say that your education will make you God says, I will make your gifts be presented among kings and queens and make room for you. Meaning you become wealthy because people can see your talent. Your talent brings them joy, brings them some service. They love it. They hire you, pay you, and you earn from it. It's really about your gifts and talents. Not so much of a 9 to 5 job, and you have some business gurus who say 9 to 5 kills your dreams. You don't get to fulfill the destiny that God had originally set out for you, and I'm talking about in a morally upright way, in a legal way, not necessarily in an illicit way. I'm not tearing down anybody. I don't know what the girl does. She mentioned some things, but I'm still not even going to pass any judgment on anybody. What I would say, a word to the wise is sufficient. That anybody, if you're going to caution somebody, think of the time and the place sometimes. Maybe it is better, we have these different social media platforms. It is better that you come and you speak general. You don't, because that is her opinion. If I'm assuming she said that 95, probably you don't earn from 95, it doesn't build you, you don't make money really. That is usually the general consensus about 95 jobs, Although, what's his name again? That big, long time, not Vincent Norman Peale. There's another one, Earl Nightingale, that says no matter what your job is, if you save and invest arduously and diligently, you can really become wealthy from it. Obviously, with your gifts and talents contributing to it. And he does have a point like that. If you know, but sometimes it's not just the 9 to 5 job. Unless your salary is really, 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 really great, and you do have one or two people, you know, their salaries are just astronomical, so they're actually wealthy out of it, you know. And my take on it is sometimes, you know, as I said, for Miss Kitty, maybe she just wanted to make sure that she encouraged people in the audience. Since she says she saw a large audience, encourage them quickly about that. To her, I'm assuming, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt, why she chose that place, as opposed to maybe on her talk show or maybe even on social media. Sometimes what we can do as humans, you know, we can learn lessons from it. That we look at the ramifications, look at everything. If you find that the pros outweigh the cons, then by all means, just ensure that you don't try and humiliate and embarrass anybody. Don't just, you know, speak general. Don't call anybody specific name on personal things like that. Like if they don't believe in 9 to 5, that's your personal view, you know. You know, that's your personal view. You don't necessarily call the names. I'll probably look at the event and so on. Secondly, I understand how the girl feels. She felt really humiliated and she felt embarrassed. However, the way I disagree with that girl, I heard her responding, and, you know, sweetie pie, I mean, you know, to kind of label her those negative names, those literally like Miss Piggy and man must do this with you and whatnot, and you don't see her with a man. Let me tell you something, sweetie pie. There are people who are married and nobody knows. When I say nobody knows, I'm talking about the public. You know, maybe one or two close persons or family members, they keep that on the wrap. Sometimes they don't even wear a ring. They don't have conversations about their family like that. It doesn't mean that they don't love the husband, they don't love the wife. They're so afraid of people and the world and social media that they just keep that to themselves. I know some people will have the idea that if you don't post about your wife or your husband, it means you don't love them, you don't care. Not necessarily true. They have seen how people's relationships have been marred, you know, maligned. You know, a serious malady has hit them because they keep on putting everything to the fore. You know, there's a scripture that says, he that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life. There's some things you keep. So some people, they're married, you wouldn't even know that they're married unless you ask them, you know, for what, or if they're filling out certain forms or whatnot. They don't post anything. They just post other things about their lives. I know somebody like that. I've never seen her post anything with her, like you say, her and her husband. I don't know how her husband looks. And I don't even remember how I think it was a conversation and she mentioned, I said, oh, you're married, so and so, so and so. You know? So, not because you don't see her with somebody doesn't mean she doesn't have anybody. And nothing is wrong if she's even single. That could be a choice of hers. It has nothing to do with weight. I've seen people who are even, they have on more weight than Miss Kitty. And they have somebody, you know, if you want to say, you look like Miss Piggy. I've seen people who look like what you would say Miss Piggy. And somebody loves them, and treats them very well. So, but I understand because you're hurt, you're young, you know, you're impressionable, and you felt, because I heard when you mentioned that you chose Chris Brown's concert to go on, and I know you felt humiliated and felt embarrassed. And I'm sorry about that, because the truth of the matter is you do have your right to say if you don't agree with a 9 to 5 job. I don't know what your response was, you know, in terms of the alternative to a 9 to 5 job. But I'm just speaking about that aspect of it. There are people who, you know, they will tell you to become entrepreneurs in a morally upright way, in a legal way. And I don't think you're talking about becoming a thief and a murderer. I don't get that impression. You know what I mean? But we have to try as a people, all of us, barring none, to not label people negative adjectives, you know, especially publicly, to say you look like this and you look like that, and don't do it, because sometimes people are dying inside because for years they've been battling bullying, where people mock them based on how they look, you know, based on the color of their skin, based on their hair texture, how they just the entire the physiology of the person, you know, and it can make them become suicidal. So as I said, I understand your hurt and your pain, sweetie pie. You know, just try and deal, because life is going to come with punches. You just have to know how to sight, duck, as them would say, duck them. Sometimes you might get a touch. You won't duck all of them. But you have to be tough and mentally strong. Perhaps she didn't mean it to, per se, she's against you. I think she probably was just against the hypothesis that you presented, you know, and felt that maybe this is the best place, because I want to encourage as many people as I can to say, believe in your honest 9 to 5 bread. Just try and look from it from that perspective. That's how I'm getting it. And Miss Kitty just, just use wisdom moving forward, yeah. Guys, follow me on TikTok, subscribe to my YouTube channel.